Chapter 3 in the life and times of Ronnie B. This is the third decade of my life, between 1961 and 1971. I was a sheep shearer at the time, and in the off-season we had to find other work, because shearing in those days was a seasonal thing, and we had to find other work. I had a mate called Mac, and he had a Volkswagen car. And him and I decided, we were both shearers, and he decided that he would head south to Nelson, fruit picking, and I went with him. So we got a job fruit picking in Motueka. And I'm pleased we didn't get in the tobacco business. You could have picked tobacco, but we used to see the boys come in at night time into the pub, and they'd be covered in nicotine, and it wasn't for us. We were pleased we had a good job picking fruit. A lot of girls down there. Oh yeah, a lot of girls. Could have had a few of them actually, but no, I wasn't interested in girls. I was more interested in shearing sheep actually in those days. But anyway, we come home. I came home a virgin, which is fair enough. And then when my parents lived in Mount Maunganui, they'd built a retirement home in Mount Maunganui, and I stayed with them. And I got a job in the next off-season with the Moran, working on the Morrinsville College, the Mount Maunganui College. And I dug all the holes. I did all the groundwork for building the college. And then I got a job in a quarry. I saw this job advertised, quarryman. So I applied, and I got there, and I was told to drill holes in the big rocks. And they gave me this jackhammer, and you went like this up and down, you know, digging holes in these rocks. And at night time I couldn't sleep. I was going like this, kind of like, God, it was terrible. Shaking at night, I was. Anyway, the next day a fella come round and he filled all the holes with jelly. And he put a fuse in there. And he said to me, now, what I want you to do is light these fuses. These are your rocks over here. All these fuses here in those rocks, I want you to light them. And you've got a minute to light them. And there'll be a detonator go off, and that means you've got a minute to get away. Well, I started lighting these things. Nervous. I bloody thought the things were going to go off. All this jelly and dets and stuff, detonators. And all of a sudden, bang! Bloody detonator went off. It meant I had a minute to get away. Oh, Jesus, I didn't need a minute. I was down into that quarry, hiding, waiting for the others to come back. They were just strolling down because they knew all about it. But anyway, I'm sitting there under the quarry, and a bloody rock came through and hit the start button of the quarry, and the quarry started up. Wow! Just about filled my pants, I did. And I said to Dad when I got home, I'm not going back there. That's a terrible job. So anyway, I had a standard 10 car at the time, a blue and white one. And it was getting a bit old, and I traded it in on a Holden Special. A brand new, well, it was only a couple of years old, Holden Special. A two-tone brown and white one. And I said to Dad, I'm not going, I want to go somewhere else this season. I don't want to be hanging around here. And he said, why don't you go south to Otago? He said, in central Otago, there's a lot of shearing down there, so away you go. So away I went down to central Otago. So I put on my uniform before I went. So this is my uniform. It's a towel around the neck, because that's what shearers wore. You wore a towel around your neck, because this is for the sweat, right? Because you work hard. And we were heading for Otago. So when you go to Otago, you've got to wear one of these. Right? A Spates hat. Because that's where they make the Spates beer. Right? So here I was, I'm heading south. Went across on the ferry, 7 o'clock in the morning. It arrived in Littleton. And I went into Christchurch and I went to the National Mortgage. And I said, is there any shearing around here? And they said, head south to Ashburton. All the shearing's in Ashburton. So I went south to Ashburton. And I asked the National Mortgage there. And they said, oh, yes, you'll have to go to the Devon Hotel and see a bloke called Rusty. Oh, yeah. And how much do they pay you here for shearing sheep? They said £7.10 a hundred. I had been getting £5 a hundred in North Island, and they're going to pay me £7.10 a hundred. Anyway, I went to the Devon Hotel, asked for Rusty. He was sure enough, he was in the bar, and with a little squeaky voice, I said to him, any shearing? He said, what do you use? The blades or the queer gear? I thought, geez, I don't use the blades, so I must use the queer gear. Well, he said, ring the mouse. Ring the fat mouse. I said, who's the fat mouse? Bill Williamson. So I rang his wife and he said, oh, he's out shearing, but you can catch him at lunchtime. So I rang Bill at lunchtime. Got any shearing? He said, yes. When can you start? I said, this afternoon? Right. I'll just get some shearing gear, some combs and cutters, and I'll be out there. So I went out and I was shearing in the afternoon. Now here's this, young fellas, listen to this. I had no job. I arrived in the South Island. I knew nobody, and by 2 o'clock in the afternoon I was shearing sheep in Ashburton. How's that? I picked up with a mate called Alan Warnock, and we decided after we'd done a few sheds around Ashburton we'd go to Riversdale and Gore. There was a shed to shear down there, so we went down there. And after we shore the shed, we went to the pub one night, and I picked up a girl. Oh, yeah, she was quite a nice little chick too. And we put her in the car, and we were going to go to a dance. So here I am in my new Holden, and away we go to this dance. She's in the middle, I'm driving, and my mate's on the other side. And the front was one of those cars with a bench front seat, you see. And the bloody car didn't like the corners. I'd been drinking all day, and it didn't like the corners. We come to this corner, and it was a real right angle, and we went straight ahead and into the ploughed paddock, end over end. Holy Moses, what a mess. So I was wild. We got a ride back into town, into the hospital, check us out. I said to my mate, have you been drinking? No, he said, I haven't been drinking. And with that he spewed up straight beer. Oh God, how embarrassing. Anyway, we had to stay the night in the hospital because we weren't too good. And I tell you what, the girlfriend, the bird I'd picked up, the bloody father wanted to sue me. Yeah, he was going to sue me. And I had to get out of town. I thought, well, Jesus, I better get out of here. So we started hitchhiking to Spates country, up to Central Otago. Because I knew there's one guy in the South Island I knew, and his name was Murray McSkimming. And he lived in Alexandra, and he was a shearing contractor. And I knew if I saw him, he'd give me a job. So sure enough, we got up there, and I met up with Murray, and I said, listen, I've rolled my bloody car. It's going to be a couple of weeks before I get it fixed. Can you give me a job? Yeah, he said, start in the morning out of Galloway Station. Preston's owned the place at the time. So I went out to Galloway Station, and next morning, and here's all these bloody champion shearers from the North Island. You see, Bing McDonald, Colin Bosher, Harry Hughes, Snow Quinn, all these champion shearers shearing these bloody merinos. And I hopped on a stand and started doing a few, and guess what? I was beating the buggers. I was beating them because I'd been to Australia and I'd learned how to shear the wrinkly sheep. And they were from the North Island. They didn't have a bloody clue how to shear merinos. So anyway, Murray took a shine to me and he kept me on. And I sure with Snow Quinn, he was a great shearer, won a lot of the golden shears many times. And a good bloke too, ashore with him. 2 or 3 seasons ashore with him. But anyway, I must tell you something about this. I had a fight once in Alexandra, in the bottom pub. Our favourite pub was the bottom pub, but you get down the bottom pub. And anyway, there was a guy there throwing his bloody weight around, you see. And I said, listen, mate, you just bloody look after yourself because you can't be a bit of a bully, you know what I'm saying? And he said, well, come outside and have a fight. So my father always taught me, if you're going to have a bloody fight, make sure you get the first punch in, you know? So anyway, we go outside through the door, and there's a bit of an alleyway. And I thought, right, first punch, boom! One in the bloody jaws and one in the guts. And it was all on. Well, we got into a tangle. We went through the plate glass bloody door in the pub. And there was steps going down the pub, concrete steps. And we were just like cowboys and Indians, you know. He'd grab me and I'd grab him, and we finished up on. I finished up on the footpath on the road, and the buggers were kicking me. There was 2 or 3 of them by then, and they were kicking hell out of me. I was buggered, so I got a bit of a hiding that night, but I healed up all right. Another time I had a fight. Well, I didn't have a fight. This Colin Bosher, a bit of a smart bugger he was. We were in the car. We'd been shearing up at Queenstown, up at Mount Aurum, which is way past the ski fields up there. And anyway, on the way home, we stopped at a store to get a pie. We all wanted a pie, you see. And I bought the last pie, and Colin Bosher couldn't get a pie because there was no pies left. Well, he hopped in the bloody car, all pissed off, and he turned, and he was in the front seat, and I was in the back seat, and he leaned over and he squashed my pie. He said, "Oh, you bought my pie." Well, we started arguing, and Murray stopped the car. Murray McSkimming was driving the car. He stopped the car. "You buggers want to fight?" He said, "Get out and bloody fight." So he stopped the car. Bosher flies out the door, and I stayed in. I locked the bloody door because he was a big bugger, and I wasn't going to get hiding. And so Murray took off and left him sitting there. We could see he's sitting under the tree with his cigarette smoking there in the dark. But anyway, New Year's Eve came around. And I'm going to tell you what happened on New Year's Eve. I've gone 12 minutes. That's long enough on this one. So I'm going to tell you what happened New Year's Eve. Okay? I'll see you later.